Ask Reddit. People who had COVID-19 or know someone who did. How bad was it? My mom had COVID. Started it as a fever, then quickly worsened. Within days she was in the hospital on oxygen. Seriously thought she was going to die. My dad has COVID. He has zero symptoms and probably had it for days before the results. My dad is diabetic with kidney failure and multiple other health issues. Why my mother, who's mostly healthy, reacted so badly compared to my dad is uttering bewildering. Edit. For the love of God, if you have symptoms of COVID-19, please stay home. Don't ignore the signs. If you don't have symptoms, wear a mask and gloves whenever you leave your home. Please be careful and safe. Sometimes people who are healthy and have strong immune systems develop a complication to infection called cytokine storm, where the body's immune system basically pulls out all the stops and starts attacking the lungs. Not saying that's for sure what happened to your mother, but it has happened with a lot of COVID patients. 30-year-old friend had it. He was so sick that his roommates were almost afraid to check on him in his room because they thought they'd find him dead. Getting out of bed to go to the bathroom took all of his strength. He's fine now, but it took a few weeks for his lungs to feel even remotely normal. My mother-in-law had something like this in January. Before it was a thing, but we swear she had it. She would call us for help and me or my wife would go over. We live 5 minutes away and help her get something. She said she was out of breath walking to her bathroom and then out of breath walking back after using it. It was wild. We all want to get antibody tests as soon as they're available. My grandmother got it. In her late 80s and in a nursing home. She probably weighs 70 pounds and can barely sit up on the best of days. She had a fever for a week and a mild cough, then recovered. We're shocked. She's so weak that when the home told us she had it, we all thought she had no chance of beating it. Weird how it can kill strong, healthy people but somehow spare her. 3 friends, 2 of which had families. 1 was living alone, so they all decided to live with each at the alone guy's house so their families didn't have to suffer the illness, and if one of them got badly sick, the less sick guys could take care of him. They got a bad fever and a dry cough, and one of them lost his sense of taste for a little while afterwards, but they came out of it fine otherwise. Edit. Have families not had? My friend is in Italy. He got it and was sick/bedridden for a week while his girlfriend had just some aches. Both his parents, his grandparents and his uncle died all within a week. Edit. To lessen the horror, I will add that his aunt had it too but recovered. Sorry, it's a rough one for a Monday. Oh my god. I can't even imagine the pain. I had it. I was basically bedridden for 2 weeks, barely doing anything except sleeping. Even then I kept waking up at night a sweaty mess. I spread it to all my family members, but they showed extremely minor symptoms. Pretty weird stuff. To answer questions, when I had COVID-19 I developed hives. The onset of COVID-19 was extremely sudden, developing hives and a fever of 102 within an hour. I was also very confused and tired all the time. I didn't go outside much prior to getting COVID-19. I did make a full recovery within 2 weeks. I did not require hospital care. My uncle died from it. He died at his house while in self-quarantine. Didn't know he died until after he didn't call or answer his phone after 2 days. That award is fucked up. I'm 32 and it was the sickest I have ever been. 2 weeks of fever, over 101, bad cough that lasted almost a month, shortness of breath where if I walked more than a few steps I would end up doubled over gasping for air. It was pretty bad, but at least I'm all better now. All the edits, damn, that blew up in the few hours I was asleep. 1. Thank you to everyone for everything. 2. My general condition before this was good. No underlying conditions, I was in really good shape. In the gym mostly every day. 3. Yeah, it really sucked. I was never really in fear though because I caught it early enough that it wasn't really hyped that much. I think it was March 3rd that I went to the hospital. 4. I work as an Uber driver on the weekends, so I'm guessing that's how I caught it. 5. I was on an inhaler for a while afterwards. I tried working out about 3 weeks after I initially got sick. That was a joke. I literally ended up on my back wheezing and hacking 2 minutes into the workout. 6. I am pretty much fully recovered now. The only effects I'm still feeling are just from taking so much time off from working out. 7. I think that's the gist of most of the questions. If you have a burning one that I didn't answer, I'm sorry. Feel free to ask me again. One more super important edit: everything I have seen and read about this is that it affects everyone differently. Please don't read what I did and think that it's great advice or anything like that. I would hate for someone to get worse because they listened to my dumbass on Reddit. Please listen to your doctors. Just heard this morning that a friend of mine died last night. Her partner called 911 when she took a turn for the worse, and in the time it took the EMTs to get there she'd already passed. It was that quick. She'd been tested, knew she was positive. She was told to stay at home unless her symptoms got worse. She felt sick but not rushed to the hospital sick. Until last night. I'm trying to comfort myself knowing she'd rather die in her own bed than in a hospital surrounded by strangers. I lost my fianc to it. And I don't know which option would have been worse in the end. I suppose it doesn't matter. I'm so sorry. My condolences to him. COVID doesn't discriminate at all. My mum went from minor tickling throat to being taken away in an ambulance by people in hazmat 3 days later, unable to breathe. 2 weeks later she died. No major health issues. She was sedated as soon as she went into hospital and on a ventilator for the duration. Eventually her organs started failing and there was nothing else they could do other than turn the ventilator off and let her go. Edit: thank you for all the awards and messages etc. I wasn't expecting it. I know in most cases something like this is difficult to talk about, but because of the current global situation it all seems unreal. I don't mind talking about this and answering questions. Obviously it is such a weird virus, so my mum's experience may be different to others. It kind of feels like she is lost at sea. She went away and we couldn't see her. Now we are just waiting for the knock on the door with her ashes and someone saying I'm sorry for your loss. My friend was tested positive. He is quarantined at home with a little fever, muscle pain and a light cough. He is getting better every day it seems. My sister, who was 47 with no underlying health issues, passed away from COVID-19. It took 10 days, she was in the hospital for the last 3. The scary part is she was making a recovery. Her lungs at day 7 were operating at 83%, and after 2 days in the hospital she had got them to 95%. In 29 hours it was a complete 180. I was able to text with her. She kept saying she was having a really tough time but didn't go into much detail. My brother-in-law and 2 nephews also had it. He mistakenly thought his COVID was just from a good gym workout as his body was just really sore. My nephew, age 13, puked one night and had a fever for a few hours. The youngest, age 7, never had any symptoms and felt fine. All tested positive. Dad got infected after going in and out of the hospital for his 4th brain surgery because the doctors keep messing up. After testing positive, the hospital sent him home, so he infected Mom also. After passing, for some reason they sent his body home. But nobody can touch it because of the possibility of getting infected. After Dad's passing, Mom went to the hospital to get tested. She already knew she just wanted treatment but was sent home. She collapsed while walking to her car. They admitted her but only gave her 4, told her she was positive, then sent her home again. It's been rough. So my dad tested positive, and right now for him is just like a bad flu. Because the test results came back 3 days later, we continued to act normally as a family, so my mom and I probably have it too. We are almost 100% positive that my mom also has it because she's losing her sense of smell and has been having similar symptoms like my dad. There is a big chance I have it too, but I have not presented any symptoms so far. ICU nurse checking in. I just got cleared to go back to work tomorrow after testing positive a couple weeks ago. How bad was it compared to the COVID patients I've treated? Nothing. I didn't even have a fever or shortness of breath. Our ICU patients are so sick. All the things you've heard about on the news. Hypoxia, blood clots, multi-system organ failure. We've had many people in their 30s and 40s with no pre-existing conditions who've ended up just as sick as the 80-year-olds, and many of them haven't had good outcomes, sadly. I work at a major hospital where we routinely get the sickest patients transferred to us from smaller hospitals, so I realize I'm seeing the extreme opposite end of the spectrum, but it is scary. My symptoms were all so minor and non-specific that I blew them off or chalked them up to other things: spring allergies, dry hospital air, sleeping poorly on my shitty mattress, working overtime for several days, until I realized I'd completely profoundly lost my sense of smell and taste. That's when I knew I had to get tested. Lo and behold, it was positive.